Greetings! This is Imaduck, and you're watching episode 10 of Quack Poker after a very long hiatus, several month hiatus. So sorry about that, anybody who's been watching the series. I have other things going on in life, trying to finish a degree and all these other things, and just been busy. So sorry about that. But here we are playing some poker again. I have not forgotten about poker. In fact, I've been playing a lot of it. In fact, I had a bunch of messed up recordings, so I actually did have other episodes made. The recordings got messed up and I got really discouraged after that and just haven't recorded in a while. I've actually been playing a lot more tournaments lately, and I wanted to do a tournament for you guys today, but unfortunately there just weren't any running at the right time. There's another like 3 hours or something before there's a tournament that I would want to actually play in. Juicy's tournament selection is not great. There's a lot of people that play in the tournaments, but I mean a good portion of the tournaments are like turbos and super turbos and just like not very deep stack tournaments. And of course, if you think you have a skill advantage over everyone else, then you want to play in some of the more deeper stack tournaments, right? So I kind of refuse to play the really turbo-y ones. They just seem, like, I mean, you can edge out a little bit and have a little bit of advantage on your opponents, but your skill advantage is definitely going to be less in those, and you're just gonna, the blinds just go up so fast that you're pretty much just going to get into shove mode at some point, and it's just going to be a question of who wins the most flips or whatever. But I've been doing pretty well with the tournaments. I got first in a big, just a $5 buy-in whatever tournament that had like 150 players or something. A couple weeks ago, and that was a lot of fun. That was very cool too. So of course that always makes you want to play more tournaments and all that. But anyway, nope, here we are, and unfortunately the only cash games that had open seats were these 2 cent, 4 cents. So playing cash, playing very, very low stakes cash, but whatever. We'll have a nice, easy, relaxing day. It's starting to be the summertime. It's starting to be nice and sunny out. At least if you live in a reasonable part of the world. If you live somewhere in the north or the northeast of the U.S. or heaven forbid Europe, it might not be so nice right now. But hey, what the heck, I'm down here in Texas, and it's nice and sunny and wonderful, and that's why our beer of the day is Hacker-Pschorr. Now, I did actually look online, and it is claimed that you pronounce the P in this. I suppose I could ask somebody who actually speaks the language, but yes, there you go. I mean, I got enough people in my family who speak German, but whatever. Anyway, Hacker-Pschorr, which I'm still butchering the pronunciation of. But it's one of the highest rated Hefeweizens ever. It's one of just the highest rated Hefeweizens if you look at any of the rating sites. It's just a really great beer. The brewery apparently came from two separate breweries that had formed way back in like 1400 something or something like that. So it's a very old beer, and it's just wonderful. Just great stuff. So Hefeweizens, I think I've done a couple Hefeweizens on the show before, but they're just very light, very summery beers. Often very, they have some sort of fruit character, either banana-y or citrusy or something like that. Sometimes people even add, notes of orange and things like that to it. Like orange peel and stuff to it. But they're just kind of fruity, light beers. Getting a very heady pour. Although, as I've talked about before, I kind of like lots of head in my pour. But that's that. I'm going to fold here. This type of glass is actually good for doing a Hefeweizen in. And you see we get a nice, beautiful, tasty head. Again, probably bigger than what your bartender would recommend for a pour, although there's debate about that. But anyway, and so, I mean, definitely, if you ever see this Hacker-Pschorr stuff, I would highly, 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 highly recommend you pick it up. I mean, it is just excellent stuff. If you ever want to know just what is, even if you're not crazy about Hefeweizens, if you just want to know, like, what is considered a typical great Hefeweizen, this is it. This is sort of like one of the quintessential, just great Hefeweizens, or they'll just list it as a Weiss type beer. But very good, just wonderful to drink on a nice hot sunny day. Very nice and refreshing, but it's still got a lot of flavor, a lot of character in it, unlike, say, like a lager or pills or whatever. So I'm going to be drinking that while playing some 2 cent, 4 cent. Sadly had to fold our first hand, but I am not playing a 2-8 for a 4x raise. I You know, I think I've played against this player before. I'm still playing on the computer that doesn't have all of my notes and stats and all that kind of stuff, but that's fine. But I remember I've played against this guy before. I kind of remember him being all right. Um, but, you know, whatever. We'll just see how it goes and go from there. All right, a queen and a 10. We're seeing lots of people post um, as opposed for waiting for the blind. Wow, and already people getting mad. So this is awesome. This seems like a good table. Of course, like I find all the 2 cent, 4 cent tables. I mean, are pretty excellent in uh, on Juicy. We could raise it up here, or we could just call. I'm kind of tempted just to call here. I think just because we're out of position. Um, Even though nobody's shown strength in this hand, but we're out of position. We're still trying to learn the table. I don't really mind just a call and the check here, a complete and a check here. Jack is a little interesting. I feel like all spades are going to stick around, but then maybe when a spade doesn't hit on the river, we're going to win. So I'm going to put a bet out there. People are getting pretty upset. Whoa. Okay, so the guy folded a jack there? Why? And showed me, too, nevertheless. A jack with a spade draw. Man, I am loving this table. I am loving this table. And you can see all this great chat here. Oh, this is good stuff. Um, so yeah, this guy just is afraid of big bets. I don't really know. It's just bizarre. I mean, I did bet in the 4 people. It looks a little bit strong, but I mean, what story am I trying to tell? Do I really have a king there and I didn't bet the flop? Have I really made the flush? Like I don't know what this guy was thinking. Maybe he thought I had. I don't know. I don't know. Very strange. And this guy seems to be showing every hand too. This is fun. Alright, so let's see what this guy did here. Alright, fold. This guy limps, because why not? Limps with 2-6 offsuit in the cutoff. Why wouldn't you do that? I fold. So far, our hands have been crappy. Queen 10 completes. This guy checks. 2-6 bets when he hits 2 pair. After this guy check calls. Then this guy leads for some reason with a min raise. And then there's a min raise on that min raise. And he calls. I mean, I guess he leads when he hits the 10. Because he thinks like if this guy is a 5 or a 2, that he's just going to either call or check. And then he checks and has to call on the river. But this guy makes another little bet. Alright, so what we learned from that is this guy's betting really small. He likes to limp everything. Obviously, raising it up here against a player like that. Guy on my left quickly calls and is pretty short stacked. Ugh. Then we get a shove here. Obviously, we have to fold. I mean, it's not a bad hand, but, you know, with no information on this guy, we have to fold. If he's shoving hands worse than ace-10 suited, then we're going to see that come out again, and that's going to come into play again. Let's see what he's got. Yeah, aces here. I mean, so yeah, so some players will just do that just to catch players who are just calling with anything. I mean, this guy actually maybe could have... I mean, maybe his call was slightly reasonable there, just because he was so short. You know, what else is he going to do? But I don't know. This guy's shoved, though, just... You know, you don't really know how to interpret that without any sort of context. But yeah, I mean, I think even for the short stack guy, he probably should have folded there. But maybe he knew something about this player over here. I mean, when someone just shoves like that, it's usually not an admission of strength. It's really weird to see someone just shove with aces there. That'd certainly be something I'd note down if I were taking notes in this session. It's pretty interesting. So we're more inclined to believe that he's just doing that with strong hands when he just leads out like that. And this guy's just limping every hand and is, who knows, probably very drunk. He's many beer sessions in, so good for him. We'll see if we can catch up to him on that front. But I actually play poker well, drunk, or so I tell myself. All right. Definitely just a fold here. Have not had the greatest hand selection so far. All right. So yeah, this is just a tasty. I just devour this half. Supposedly you can get this on tap places. I actually don't know any place locally that has Hacker on tap, but there is one place by me that has it in bottles all the time, and so I'll always get it from there. And they also sell this though at a lot of stores, especially any specialty store should have it. But I've actually even picked this up in my grocery stores and stuff, so you should be able to find it. And I mean, it is just a phenomenal hef. This guy is just screaming, "Fold, donkey!" Uh, yeah, I mean, it really is interesting. Even like jumping up to like 3 cents, 6 cents on the site versus the 2 cents, 4 cents. There's just a huge jump in the player quality. I mean, not that they're great. The most of the 3 cents, 3 cents, 6 cents folks aren't very good, but here you just get the 2 cents, 4 cents. You just get the really random players. They're just doing just bizarre, bizarre, bizarre shit. Let's just go ahead and fold here. I mean, since all we've seen from this guy is kind of some strength, I'm fine with just the fold there. It's not a great hand, Queen 7 suited. This, however, is a fine hand, and we're in position. Did want to look at, I would have another previous hand. Here again, I will isolate. Alright. Huge black man raises to 8 cents, and there's another raise on top of that. That's a tiny raise from this Nima guy. Bill calls because he's calling everything. Yeah, kind of strange. Well, we are getting raised a lot, but I still don't have any reason to believe that this raise isn't meaningful. Uh, this guy, sorry, this Bill guy is still cracking me up. Donk raise! He's just got some sort of beef to pick with our friend Huge Black Man over here. Our opponent could have been squeezing there. I could have called. It was kind of close, especially with that caller in the middle there. But I just kind of felt, I don't know. I'm feeling like playing it a little bit tight right now until we kind of see where everyone's at. We did have position. We could have set mind. We had almost the right amount of money in the pot for set minding to make sense, but it was kind of a big raise on his part, right? Because we raised to 12 cents, he raised to 50 cents, which I mean, with the overlay of this guy and this guy, that's kind of correct. In fact, that's that is about right with the overlay. If you're thinking he needs to be doing a 3x bet, so 3 times my bet plus whatever's already in the pot. So there was already another 16 cents from these two guys. So 36 plus 16, yeah. Um, so okay, his bet makes a bit of sense there, but it's a pretty big bet. It's kind of strong for him to want to take that kind of line out of position. Don't know what he's doing yet, and the math is slightly wrong for set mining, right? I usually like to be able to win at least 10 to 12 times the amount that I have to call to set mine on the flop, right? So if we assume I've just got these pocket fives and I'm only continuing with the hand if another 5 comes down, if we figure I'm only continuing with the hand if another 5 comes down, then we want to be able to make the implied odds math work out, which you can read up about this. I won't do the whole math here. But to make the math work out with implied odds, you need about, you need to be able to make about 10 times whatever it takes you to call. Okay? So it was going to take us an extra 38 cents and so he had a little less than 380 behind. Now, granted, we'd win in the pot, whatever. I mean, it was very, very borderline, is what I'm saying. And so we could have called there, but I kind of felt like, yeah, that was kind of a sign of strength. We weren't sure what's going to happen. We weren't sure if this guy's going to do anything. It just seemed kind of like a weird spot. And we're just sitting down. We're just relaxing, having a good time, and we're seeing a lot of players being spewy and weird here. So we might as well just look for spots where we're more confident, especially if this is a player we think that's the better player. You know, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. But I wouldn't blame anybody for calling there. I think Jason Somerville would be calling there all the time. So what happened in this one? Fold. Our friend limps. This guy limps the button. Squatso. Okay, so we got 4 people to the flop. This guy min bets out again. We got this guy. Both these guys have the flush draw. And they both kind of just continue on, but still with really nitty bets. Do I want to raise here? We do have position on the bad guy who is going to call, but our hand's kind of not great. I'm fine with folding there. If there was one less, if we were one position over, I think I probably would have raised there, but this table's been they're calling with a lot of hands, and our hand really isn't great. So I don't mind just tossing that one into the muck. We would have had a gut shot and a 3 flush. 2 3 flushes, actually, I guess. Or 2 3, 2 gut shots, is that right? 9 10, Jack, Queen? No, not quite. Would have hit the Queen on the turn. And this is this head-to-head battle between these 2 enemies here. So Hefeweizens are typically unfiltered. You get a nice, see, it's just cloudiness to this. I don't know how well that comes out on camera, but you can't see me through this. See, I can block out the whole camera with this. Hefeweizens usually are unfiltered. They're often, considered to be these very traditional beers from Belgium and Germany and whatnot. You'll see these. I guess they're most popular in Germany. And yeah, they're typically done in the older styles, and back in the day they didn't filter beers like what you get now. So if you get a Budweiser, they're very clear, very clean, all that. Whereas back in the day, they didn't really have great filtration techniques. There were some additives they could put in, and you could do certain things, lots of transfers and things to try and clarify the beer a bit, but for the most part, beer was not very clean and clear at that point. And also, if you have the German purity law, there was this famous German purity law that said you couldn't really add anything to your beer. So, yeah. Oh, I guess we could have had odds there with... I didn't realize he called, though. I don't know why I would think he wouldn't. Anyway, so like I was saying, yeah. So, the point being, there really wasn't a great way for them to clarify their beers, and so they usually didn't, and so it was pretty typical to see nice cloudy wheat beers. It also has to do with the type of grain they would use. Basically, these sort of flaked wheat grains tend to give you more cloudiness in your beer, and so that's kind of what we're seeing here. All right. Bill is thinking and thinking about this here. I'm surprised he seems to just be very stationy for the most part. But, although very stationy and at the same time did fold that jack against us earlier. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's just trying to pick on certain players or what. We see him fold there again. I don't know what this guy's doing. I think if we just play tight, straightforward poker, we're going to win. That does require us to get some playable hands, which we really just have not had any. I think the one hand that was borderline was those 5s. But the thing with the 5s too, UK, so I said, okay, well, we're set mining with those 5s. So then the question becomes like, if this is a better player, he might be able to sniff it out better when we, if we do hit with our 5s. on a board that he doesn't hit at all, depending on what hands he has, he, there's a good chance he won't get all his money in. Versus like someone like Bill here, I figure like if he's got top pair, he's probably going all in all the time, whatever. So, yeah. Although that might not be true. He actually has been folding quite a bit post flop. Not too much of a fan of folding pre flop, but. Alright. So we get a raise, call, call, fold. This is like playing a live game or something. Just with all the calls and weird pre-flop sizings and limps and all this kind of stuff. I mean, not that this pre-flop sizing's fine. Alright, so then this guy pre-flop raiser bets out on a 9-10-4, gets a call, bets again, although it does the same size, so clearly we've got some bet sizing issues here. There's a call again. Bets again the same size on the river. Nima shoves here, and then we get a fold and a fold, which I kind of believe Nima has it. We haven't seen him do anything like this. It's such a weird spot. I mean, weird for Tebow Baby to be doing this kind of betting thing. Nima, of course, could have made this a lot smaller. Regardless of if he had it or not, he could have made this a lot smaller and accomplished the same thing. I mean, what was the pot at this point? Like 60 cents, 78, 90. So the pot's like $1. He raises to $2. I mean, it's not the worst, but it's not great. So there it looked like we had two people made trip aces, but one had ace king and one had made a full house, I guess. And yeah, okay, and he made the two pair on the flop, and so ace king, of course, wants to get it in. Yeah, and so here we see this Nima guy was in fact doing one of these overbet sort of shoves with a good hand. Top pair, top kicker. Kind of ran into it. I mean, what are you going to do? Can't do too much, but there you go. And so they even make trips on the river, but of course then he's got a full house. So he needed the board to pair, but not that way. What do we have here? Another all limped pot all the way around. Bill auto min bets and takes down the pot. Oh no, he gets a call. He gets a call. Man, I wish we could get some hands on these guys. I mean, Bill might be taking you playing tight enough that we should just be trying to really outplay him here. I mean, tight post flop. And we could just really just try to outplay him out here, maybe. Yeah, because look, he's folding like ace-2 there. I don't... I don't know, man. But we really need some hands to do that. Ugh. Ugh, look at this. 20 minutes in a session. We've played, what, 2 hands or something? It's been pretty miserable, but what are you going to do? Drink good beer is what we're going to do. I'll probably make this a longer video than usual. I've actually been really favoring the longer sessions nowadays. I think it's... I think the longer sessions, and Jason Somerville's been, if you've been following his Run It Up series, he's been talking about this as well, but it's just... Yeah, I mean, if you've got a skill advantage, your advantage over the other players is only going to increase as time goes on, as you get more and more and more information. And, playing for 30 minutes, so getting like 30 to 40 hands in just isn't enough to get a ton of information on every player at the table. Even when you're playing six-handed, you can get some feelings and stuff, but, in tough positions, you're not going to feel really confident. You're going to be subject to a decent amount of variance. But if you go to an hour, if you go to 2 hours, that information just increases with time, and eventually you can be confident in basically all the tough spots with what you do. I mean, our hand selection, just awful, just miserable. And obviously we have to fold here. I mean, it's just way too big. Bill's calling stuff again. Which would be a shame. He's going to lose all his money before we get to play against him. Yeah, the fives hand I still... I could have called with that. I don't know. That's about the only hand here. I mean, look at this hand selection. Hee haw. Who bet there? Did Tebow bet there? Or... Alright, and he shoves, and obviously we can't call. I mean, at least our decisions have been easy. No real tough decisions here. Tebow shoved on the flop there. Okay. Guess he had like an overpair, I guess. Bill shoved with his 4-9. Man, I hope he reloads. What a shame. Oh, and he's just gone. Oh, and huge black man just sitting out now. Damn it. Damn it. Ugh. Alright, well, these two players haven't seemed great either. I think they're both on the nittier side, so I think we can just start kind of attacking them and going from there. Here Tebow leads out. I think we saw him lead once previously, and he did have something, so I'm okay with the fold here. I think the leads are interesting with these paired boards. That's something I've thought about doing for a while. I'll play this guy heads up if he wants to, for sure. I'm going to bet here because there's a decent chance we get the best hand. I guess we just let it go here. So I don't know if this guy's just being overly aggressive or what. We didn't necessarily see him doing that before. I don't know. But I think his pre-flop sizing's wrong. We're going to have some fun with this. You know, and if he keeps just being too aggressive, we'll take advantage of that as time goes on. Calls it off there. I mean, we've got top pair, we're playing heads up, so we just got to kind of assume we've got the best hand and go from there. He probably doesn't have 7 deuce. Yeah, I mean, we certainly have the best hand there. Okay. We could raise him here, but I'm okay with the call. Though it is interesting to see him raise. He hasn't always been doing that pre-flop, so we're going to try to see if we can figure out something about his hand strength. We do have a pair. I think in heads up, it's worth giving it a call here. I am still trying to just kind of get some information here. So we're just trying to see what he's doing exactly. If he makes it another big bet here, I think we'll just fold. But I'm just kind of interested to see. So he makes it yet another, like, nit bet here. And we saw him, like, nit bet, fold earlier. So, you know, and I mean, it's small enough that we could just call it here. So many things he could have. I could, like, bomb it here and try to scare him. But I'm kind of just interested in seeing this cheap here. Yeah, 6-2. So with nothing. So I think he's just being really needlessly aggressive post-flop. Pre-flop, he doesn't seem to be that aggressive. And so I felt safe limping there. Here, I'm actually okay doing a raise here. I'm not really confident. Although we could just call and see what he does if we think he's just being overly aggressive and bluffing a lot, because we've, you know, almost certainly got the best hand. Might have another player sitting down. We make another pair. I'll just call here. We'll see what he does. We make it to 2 pair. I like that. Here I think we have to raise. I mean, if he doesn't have anything, I mean, what's the most he's going to bluff on the river? Another 4 cents. Versus if he does have something, he's definitely calling us here, right? If he's got any pair. Well, the fact that he checks to us makes me think we got it here. So I'm going to make it a small one. We'll just see how... I don't know how often this guy is calling. Probably not that often. I don't really know what he had there. You know, he could have had a decent number of draws there, and so that was just his give up. I don't know. All right. So let's see if he wants to raise here or bet here. I assume he will. So he makes this a bigger bet than what he did before. Does that mean he's got a 10? Could. Ace is an interesting card. I still don't know if I want to fold here. It's kind of close. It's actually really close. We're waiting too much time, though. I think I'm just going to fold. Well, we're going to call one more time here. Check. He's got queens, playing him a bit nitty. Okay. So I think when he makes the bigger bets, he does actually have something. And when he makes the little bets, he's just, I don't know, doing them as little blocking bets, whatever. Just nonsense, really. So good to know. So I think we've got a decent read on how this guy's playing. So, I mean, I kind of felt like through that hand he had us, but I was interested in getting the information. And the information was cheap enough, and we had a decent enough hand that it seemed all right. Here we hit a bottom pair, and I certainly am going to bet here. Because we got bottom pair, we want to protect our hand. It's a pretty dry, unconnected flop, so I mean, it's fairly unlikely that they're going to continue with, I mean, there aren't really any draws to continue with, but we still at least want to kind of protect our hand, because if we get three-handed the turn and three-handed the river, we've really got to worry about, you know, what these guys have if they make a better pair than us, because basically any pair is a better pair than what we have. Alright. So hey, we finally got some hands before, and here we go, we got another hand. I like this, I can get behind this. What do we got? Tebow baby. Is it like Tebow's baby? Is that like it's actual, Tebow's actual baby, or like his baby as in his baby girl, or I don't know. I don't know. These are questions that need answering. Tank raise. I mean, he's been thinking about some things for a while, but raise seems to indicate he's got a better than average hand, but I have no reason to think it's like kings are better, so I don't mind raising it up here. We kind of want to see how he responds to pre-flop aggression too. Well, I feel like this is because he's been so aggressive. I want to give him at least one street to bluff here. King is interesting. Could look bluffy for us to bet here. He's been so aggressive, I wanted to just give him a chance to bluff on that flop, because if not, I mean, he's just going to fold a lot of the time otherwise. King Jack's very interesting. So if he's got ace 10, he's got us beat. If he had kings or jacks, he's got us beat. But I think we can bet for value otherwise. It's maybe a little too small, but I'm kind of afraid of what happens if he shoves here. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. You know, I feel like he's got a lot of king jacks in his range and things like that, but he also has just jack in his range. Although I don't know why. I think he would have bet out on that. So I kind of feel like he's just got two pair here. I'm gonna call. Oh no, he's got the ace 10. Well, I said we needed to be worried about that, and sure enough, we did. Well, that was a shame, but yeah, I mean that was lucky for him. I kind of felt like, I mean, I guess there's more ace 10s than anything else, but I wasn't sure if he was calling on the turn with ace 10. But ace 10 certainly does kind of tell the story, but I kind of felt like he had king jack enough of the time too, or just random. We've seen him be, a little crazy. So we might have, really hurt ourselves by checking the flop, but I feel like in that situation, I mean, with this flop, you're so rarely getting beat, especially against an aggressive player who is always going to bet when he's got like a flush draw or anything like that. It was just, I mean, he hit runner runner, and that's kind of just a rare thing that's going to happen. So I don't think that's necessarily, you know, you can't just bet the flop because he might hit runner runner, because that's every hand can hit runner runner to hit your hand basically, no matter what hand you have. Like you can always identify a runner runner that will beat you, 90% of the time. So I don't think I feel too bad about the way I played that. It was just like, I mean, I think you could argue that river, but we've seen him do weird things before. I just didn't feel that bad about it. I was a little worried about the shove, and that's actually kind of why I bet small. But I guess I kind of really hadn't sold myself on what I was going to do on the shove, and yeah, I decided just to do that. Sorry about that. Did they get that all in free? Sorry, pre-flop. Yeah, Tebow baby is just racking it up. Sure, I'll just check this. I don't mind betting out here. We've got enough draws and things going on. Kind of a semi-bluff. I also don't mind betting again. He's got a smaller pair he's going to fold. We've got a gut shot. Yeah, and an 8 could be good. A 6 could be good. Yeah, I just felt like there were a lot of things he could be sitting around there with. Alright, so Tebow baby's kind of feeling himself here, so I hope he bets so we can raise his bet. What do you think, Tebow baby? Tebow, come on, Tebow. No, gonna time out. What a shame. Well, clearly raising it up here. Make it slightly bigger than usual because he doesn't know what our usual is, and why not? We will bet this flop because why not? I think 17's about right, about where we want to be. Get a call. I like that. I like that. I mean, unless he's got Jack 8 suited or something like that, it doesn't really, not really any hands in his range that make a lot of sense that he's beating us on. But he certainly could have something like Ace Jack or King Jack, maybe. I don't think has he got a 4? It's possible. So I think we're just going to call here, and then we'll check call. So that could have been another option to check call against this guy in the river, or that other hand, but I don't know. I kind of felt like he makes such nitty bets that I don't know what to do with that. Alright, so here we are with an overpair. Cactus Ass makes a big bet. I think we have to call, although he very well could have a 4. It'd be kind of weird for him to have the 4, but yeah. Alright, so he just overbet. So that's good to note. So he does have overbet bluffs in his range. I mean, what was he doing there exactly? Because he min-raised on the turn? So he's going to just start shoving on us here? That's fine. So he min-raised us on the turn, but he had nothing, right? I want to see this hand. Now I've lost it. So he min-raised us on the turn. I don't know. Now I've lost the hand, but... Alright, let's raise it here. I don't know if this guy's just shoving every hand or what, though, but we'll see. Alright. Good chance we have the best hand, so no reason not to raise it up here. Alright, so he reloaded, which is good. Did he reload last hand or this hand? I don't even know. But he's reloaded, so that's good. I don't like playing against someone with a $1 stack. I mean, I kind of do, because you're probably going to get all their money, but, you know. So he min-raises, we're in position, we've got an ace. You know, we don't necessarily have to assume we're dominated. Hey, we got a pair now. Look at that. And we've seen this guy be overly aggressive, so I mean, we know it kind of doesn't mean anything. You know, we've got a pair. We're heads up. I don't mind the call here. But I think if he bets and makes another big bet here, then we're just going to fold. So now he checks. I got to assume he's got nothing. He could have like 8s, 9s, whatever, but I still think it's worth it just to check. So it makes 8s less likely, but he could have 9s, could have 6s, could have a lot of things. When he bets the river here, it's kind of a weird story he's telling. Maybe he has a flush draw. I don't know. It's just a weird story he's telling. I don't necessarily believe him, but at the same time, we really only beat the bluffiest of bluffs. He could have been on some weird draw. I don't know. I'm fine with just the fold there. I think I think our hand is just weak enough. Maybe he sniffed it out, and maybe we'll see that he's very, he really tries to be aggressive. I mean, we've seen him do that once, but I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, I was kind of interested to see if he would just let us check it down there, if he's got like an ace high or something like that, which would be reasonable with the way he played that hand. Then he could just let us check it down. Let me see if I can get to that other hand again, because I want to go through that. He raised the button, so we will just fold our measly 6-3. So where was that, the hand where we got the money here? So, okay, so he flops just a 3 flush is all he has and an over. And, he decides to raise again when he makes the flush draw on the turn. And then just bombs it on the river. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, his line, well, I don't like his call on the flop, I don't think. I mean, when we're raising so big from the small blind, I don't know. I mean, he's got king high. It's kind of a weird, very aggressive line. Aggressive lines are, often great, but I mean, I guess he kind of ran into it because it's like if we had ace jack, would we be calling there? I was already a bit worried with the aces, but I just couldn't figure out what hand he was representing there, right? And so that's ultimately, I mean, maybe he has 4s and that's what he's representing there. But then what 4s is he calling my biggish pre-flop raise with? I don't know. It just seemed very strange. Unless he's got like maybe ace 4 suited. I don't know. Alright, so this is 16 cents. So here we see we're getting a great price to set mine. And we're in position, so we're definitely going to call. Small pairs especially are much better in position because you can, really take advantage of certain boards. Like kind of this one. This one's interesting. So it's like he either, with his raise there pre-flop, it's kind of like he either hit this board by having an ace or a king, or he's hit this board by having a pocket pair. I mean, what other hands could he possibly have? Not many, I guess. So I'm assuming his pocket pair is better than ours. We're going to fold. Or he's got like king queen or something like that. I mean, we've seen him be a bit aggressive pre-flop, so we don't really know what that means. We've got to kind of watch him show down a few more hands to really be certain of that. But I think we played that hand totally fine. If we made our set, we could have won a lot of money, and it really didn't cost us much more to see that flop. And seeing him bet big there, yeah, I don't know. Alright, so what do we got? A min raise from the guy who's bought in short here. Okay. Min raise. Alright, then we get a bet here. Half pot. I'm kind of inclined to believe this guy has it because I would think you'd want to play tighter against him, but here we are on one of these turns. This guy likes to check the turn and then bomb the river if he's checked to. Which it's not a bad plan. Because there are, often, if you're checking the turn, you can't have like a super strong hand, right? You've got to have some sort of medium strength hand. Here we are on the river. Greed jams, and so now we get to see if Cactus really has anything or not. So I'm not sure how to read that. Not sure what I would put Cactus on there. Alright, here we are with a lovely 4-10 suited. Could potentially call here. Only 8 cents more to win 18 cents. That sounds good, right? But this guy's got position on us. He's going to put pressure on us. So basically, the fact that he's going to put pressure on us makes our 4 no good. We're never going to feel great about, like, if our 4 pairs. So, you know, I don't feel too bad. He's going to charge us a lot for any flush draws we hit, I think. All these reasons are good reasons to be aggressive, right? When you're aggressive, players are less interested in getting in against you in marginal situations because they know they're going to have to pay for it. They know they're going to get, you know, tested for it, you know. I guess we complete here. We'll see if Cactus decides to raise here. He's done a few aggressive pre-flop raises, especially when he senses dead money in the pot. You know, we could raise him again here. I don't, but it's not really a good story that we're telling. I think if I had a slightly better hand, I would do it. I also kind of think these weaker players, some of them are going to call, or maybe even jam the short ones. Who knows? Who knows what they'll do here? So I'm kind of guessing one of them are going to call, and then we can just fold. If not, we could potentially raise, but if we raise, you know, we raise like 75% cents, then we're in just a really awkward position post-flop if he calls. I feel like he's weak, but this isn't the right hand to punish him with. I would rather have like 9-10 suited or something like that. But with a king like that, it's just, you know, I'd rather have this hand, right? You know, but with a guy this loose and this aggressive, we're usually just going to try to get value from his bluffs. It is a shame that one hand turned out that one way. Okay, I'm going to raise to 18 here. We've got the button. We've got a solid hand. Granted, these guys, it's not the best hand against guys who are somewhat short stacked, but they're not, I mean, they're 50 big blinds deep. It's not 30 big blinds deep, right? And these guys are playing slow. And what else do I have to talk about? Did I even talk to you guys after I did Red Rock? I was out at Jason Somerville's first big run-it-up tournament in Red Rock Casino, where I did all right. I made the final table, but lost in a hand where I had ace-king and was even flopped a king and was potentially going to, you know, triple up and be like chip leader at that point. And then it turned out, no, the other guy I got it in against had aces, and that was that. So ace-king against aces when everyone was semi-short at the final table, there's really nothing I could do. That was a lot of fun. I had a good time. I got a poster. I can show you. I'm a real run-it-up warrior. See, I've got a hand-signed poster from Jay Carver with the little kitty and all in it. This was actually bought by, I guess, my friend who actually gave me a ride there, Brian King, who's also a run-it-up warrior, was nice enough to buy a bunch of those posters, and I happened to get one of the ones he bought for the Warriors, and I was very happy about that. And Jason was nice enough to sign it for me and all that. And it was a lot of fun. I got to talk a lot to Jason about Magic the Gathering and all that kind of good stuff, and so that was fun. And overall had a good time, even though I had a losing trip in Vegas. I don't know. It was just very up and down. I had a few really good sessions. Actually, what happened was I had a few really good sessions, including one session where I sat down with aces, got it all in, and doubled up immediately, which is like, that's what everybody wants every session to start with, right? And played against some of the other one up warriors I met. Played some cash games in Planet Hollywood against them. That was a lot of fun. But then I had like one session where I got it in good twice. I mean, within like the span of 10 hands, I got it in good twice and lost both times. So like lost $400 in ten, 5-10 minutes or whatever, and was just after that I was kind of just like so tilted. I'm like, well, it's in my best interest not to play at that point. Once you get that tilted, and was kind of at about as much as I wanted to lose on the trip and all that. So I was like, all right, whatever. So, but I had a great time. Vegas is always fun. I stayed at Planet Hollywood, which Planet Hollywood, I hadn't actually stayed there before. The rooms are solid. They're nice. They're actually pretty cool. They have like Hollywood memorabilia in all of them. And so in my room, they had the stuff from Apollo 13, which is cool because I'm an astronomer. So it was just totally coincidental. So I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. So that was neat. They had like a costume and some script pages and stuff like that. But it was pretty cool. So that was a lot of fun, and the rooms are fine there. Not over the top great, but they're pretty cheap too, so couldn't complain. All right, here we are with King Queen in the big blind against a couple of guys who limp. Could raise it up here, but I kind of think it's fine to just check. I kind of feel like if I raise it up here, we're gonna kind of just accomplish the opposite of what we want. Like better hands are gonna call. I don't know. We're just gonna get in a weird spot. Now against a flop like this, I don't know what this guy's doing. I mean, this really small bet. Like I was gonna say, we could lead out against this flop, and a lot of the time take it down. With this, it kind of makes it harder because he's almost always gonna call, and then we're gonna have to bet the turn. Eh, I don't know. I don't feel like getting in any tricky spots today. I'm just relaxing, drinking a wheat beer, just enjoying my summer, enjoying my spring break, as it were. Yep. Yeah, it is spring break for me right now, although, like I said, I'm trying to finish up a dissertation, so basically been working all through it. But I'm here in Austin. South by Southwest is going on, so I've been out at that. On and off out at that. I'll probably go out to there more tonight. South by Southwest is this giant music festival they have every year, and it's not even really like a festival in the traditional sense. It's like a million bands come here and just play in every place, anywhere where there's free space. I mean, I've seen bands, they play in every venue, every bar, every restaurant has bands, and then even I've seen gas stations with bands. South by is just insane. So yeah, I've been running around that a lot. It's been a lot of fun. If you've never been to South by, well, it costs a lot of money to come here during South by. So get your company to pay. If you're in some tech company or something, here we'll call with a hand. That's good in multi-way pots. Interesting spot because we make top pair on a board where this guy's probably not, connecting with that much. We also have a 3 straight. I don't mind just leading here and seeing what happens. But actually, I'm going to check. I mean, we're only 3-handed. There's a decent chance he c-bets here. If he c-bets here, I'm very tempted to, raise, get it in. Cactus is doing something odd here. So now the question is, do I raise or do I call? I think Cactus is kind of stabby. And so I could see him just taking a stab at that flop. So I'm fine with just a call there and then a check here. And see if he just wants to take another stab. Because again, it's just sort of this thing of, well, if he's got absolutely nothing, this gives him a chance to hang himself. Now, and nines, typically, I mean, a lot of the cards, more cards are lower than 9 and higher than 9, right? So usually we're not going to see a rollout like this. The question, I think we're just going to give him a chance to bluff here, though. No, he doesn't want to bluff. All right. Oh, he's got a 4. Would he have called with that 4? Probably not. I don't think he would have called if I bet there. So I wanted to check on that river because I felt like he either bluffed on the flop or had an incredibly weak hand on the flop. So something like a 4. So betting on the river, what does that do? If he's got an incredibly weak hand, a good percentage of the time he's just folding. If he's got, maybe if he has a 6, he's calling because he beats something. But with this rollout, especially with the Jack Queen, there's a straight draw on the board. Jack Queens are big cards that I could have. I did call his flop bet. Like he's got to figure I'm somewhat strong. So I mean, I don't know that he's ever calling with a 4 or a 6, right? And then and if he's just straight up bluffing, then I've got to give him a chance to bluff again. Like I'll never get any money if I bet there unless he raises me there, which then I have to fold. So really, it just seems like checking that river there is the way to make the most money. With his exact hand, he can't really do anything but that. He definitely could have waited for the other guy to bet, but I guess he was afraid if the other guy bets, I call, then he's in this weird spot where he might have the best hand, but he's going to make a mistake and fold it there. You know, I get that. But worth noting too. So like when he does these like weird donk leads, he's got something, but it might not be that strong. It might not be always the case, but at least sometimes it's the case. Fold in the king two here. Sorry. All right. So yeah, how are you guys doing? Good. Well, that's good. That's nice. I like that. We're coming in on an hour here. I wanted to post a winning session here, but that's probably not going to happen. We just had that one bad hand, and I really think we played all right. I don't know. Could have debatably played the river differently and maybe lost a little less, but could have debatably bet the flop. I don't know. It was an interesting hand with a lot of different paths. I felt like we took the best money making path, but it did not work out for us because again our opponent hit runner runner. What are you gonna do? What else? What else? What else? All right. Well, yeah, I'll probably just play one more orbit here, and we'll call it a day. I am gonna try to come back to doing the weekly videos, all that kind of good stuff. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. If you want to see those updates immediately, you can subscribe to the channel. I'm not gonna subscribe horror and just tell you subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. But if you don't know about the subscribe feature, what it does is it tells you when I post new videos. And so that's kind of nice sometimes. You can keep up with that. I really haven't tried to promote this channel much at all. I might start doing that in the future, but, kind of wanted to make sure I was going to stick to it and want to get a few videos down before I did that. But now we're at 10 videos. We're in the double digits, so, it means I'm serious, right? Minus the whole whatever X months gap. If it really was since I went to Vegas, it's got to be, like 7 months or something like that, which I don't remember. I may have talked about the Vegas trip. I'm sorry if I repeated a bunch of stuff about the Vegas trip from the last one. But again, you guys haven't been watching that anyway, right? So who knows? Anyway, we got one more hand for us here, unless greedy guy folds. Ooh, and it's a good one. I like this one. We're going to make it 12 cents just because, even though this guy to our left is not there really, we haven't set an official sizing. We haven't even played that many hands this session. I don't think it looks that crazy intimidating to do this. And we do get a caller, and we're in position on him. I like this. I like this. Not the craziest flop for us, but we've got 2 overcards, and a lot of times our opponents are not going to connect with this board, so we can just take it down with a C bet. Ugh. This guy bets this. I kind of see this as weakness. I'm actually going to call this here. It seems a little weak to me. I'm going to call this here. We've got 2 overs, so if we get an ace, we get a king, it's good. And a lot of times I think it just goes check fold on the turn here. But when he jams here, obviously, we have no choice but to fold here. So, okay. So I guess he has like a 9 or something. I don't know. It's very strange. Very strange. Especially if he's watched us, like he should know that we're always going to c-bet that, and potentially going to fold there with a lot of hands. So, but all right. I guess we're done for now. I think we lost about $2 or something that session. Not the end of the world, as it were. I think we played fine. I'll give myself that pat on the back. We did fine. We played just fine. It's okay. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. I will hopefully be posting more of these, so keep in touch. Let me know if you have any comments about how those hands went. I know this session was kind of lame at some points because we just didn't get any good hands, but I felt like we got to catch up a lot. You know, gave us a lot of time to catch up, and we talked a little about the hands, talked a little about the poker, talked a little bit about one of my favorite beers. So thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in about a week with a new episode. Adios.